everyone! I've filmed a video today showing you how to cover up breakouts. I know the lighting is like so weird right now, but I just filmed the actual video and now it's went so dull outside that this is without light. So anyway, before we get into the actual makeup, I just wanted to talk a little bit about preparing your skin for makeup if you are suffering from a lot of breakouts or maybe you're suffering from acne. Obviously you'll use whatever skincare products that you're comfortable with and whatever skincare works for you. I would just urge you to resist the temptation to not put any moisture on your skin. If you do that and then you're going in to apply makeup and heavy duty concealer and stuff, if you've not got moisturiser underneath, it's going to start to look really cakey and really dry on your skin, no matter what your skin type. Even if you're really oily, if you don't prepare your skin properly, it's just all sitting on top. So before I done this makeup today, I gave myself a really good cleanse. I used a cream cleanser. It's just to really massage your skin, bring all the blood to the surface and make it look really healthy, so that in the areas that you don't have breakouts, your skin looks really good. And then I just went in with my normal like exfoliating toner. I used a hydrating serum and I used a really thick moisturiser because my skin's really dry. So you use whatever suits your skin, but just don't be afraid to apply moisturiser because it will make the makeup look so much better. So here's the video and I hope you enjoy it. It's not groundbreaking, there's a lot of videos like this, and one of my favourite ones is the video that Lisa Eldridge made a good few years ago now. And yeah, this is pretty much the exact same thing as that. I follow those same principles because I find that works the best. So I hope you enjoy it, and here is the makeup. So I decided to do this video today because my skin is probably the worst it's been in a little while. I've got breakouts on my forehead. I have one on my upper lip, which is one of those ones that is so sore, it's killing me. I have breakouts on my chin, on my cheeks, it's a mess. There's no reason for it, I'm not going to freak out. Sometimes you just have to accept that your skin is breaking out and there's nothing you can do about it. So, I've primed my skin already with Illamasqua. This is the Hydra Veil. I've had this for such a long time, I'm just trying to see how I feel about it. Not an essential sort of step, but it is moisturising. So when you're breaking out, it's really tempting to want to cover your face in like double wear foundation or Studio Fix by MAC, and that's fine for some people. I find that it just makes your skin look worse because it starts to look really caked on, it looks really unnatural. I find that I get a lot of sort of dryness around the breakouts and that'll just accentuate it. So for me, I prefer to do it this way. I like to go for a really natural foundation all over because yeah, I've got breakouts, but the skin around the other areas is absolutely fine. Like, I don't need much coverage on my cheeks. I don't really need much coverage anywhere apart from on the breakouts, and that's going to make it look so much more natural. So I'm going to use Face and Body foundation from MAC. I love this, I know it works for me. Just use whatever works for you. You could use this or even a tinted moisturiser. So this is in the shade N1. I'm just shaking it up. I'm just applying this with a Real Techniques buffing brush. Rather than buffing it into the skin, I'm pressing it on. This is because when I get breakouts, I get a lot of texture on my skin because I'm dry. So although it's tempting to buff, it works a lot better for me if I just press into my skin. Oh, that one absolutely kills. And Face and Body is a foundation that you can build up. You can go back in with a couple of layers. I wouldn't even say I'm putting more foundation on the areas that I actually have breakouts because I know I'm going to go back in and conceal anyway, so I don't want to start layering up lots of product. I know that by no means do I have like acne or probably serious breakouts for some people, but for me this is the worst my skin gets. And I do have a lot of things to cover. Just use the same principle if you have less or more acne. It all works the same. You can use Face and Body if you're oily too. It sets. It's a great foundation. So now I have a light layer of Face and Body all over my skin. I hope that you can actually see. I hope that I'm not being bleached out by the light and it's making my skin look better, because for once in my life I actually do want you to see how bad my skin is. So then I'll go in with concealer. I'll still use a light concealer under my eyes because I don't need the coverage there, and I'll use MAC Mineralized Concealer. But for all over my face, this is one of my favourite products. This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Maximum Cover Camouflage Makeup. So I'll either use this or the Studio Finish Concealer from MAC. I actually love to use Studio Fix Foundation from MAC as a concealer. Because I'm dry, I find that it's just a little bit more moisturising. Although it is a really matte foundation compared to a concealer, it's quite moisturising, and I find that that looks great on my skin. So if you have that, use it. Use whatever concealer you like. I just love this because it's really full coverage and I don't need a lot of it. So I'm taking a little pencil brush to apply this. This is a little pencil brush from Illamasqua, but you could use anything. You could use a little eyeliner brush, just something small, because the key here is that you don't want to pile concealer all over your face where you don't need it. So I'm just taking a little brush and I'm just going in, dotting it wherever I need it. And the same rules apply whatever concealer you're using. And this is where I start to feel really depressed because I have so much to cover. Occasionally I'll put a little bit of this on my nose because I get a little bit of redness there. But I don't over apply. Like, I've still got a little bit on my hand here, but I'm not going to use it because that's when it starts to just look really messy. You might find you need to go back in, so you can keep a little bit on your hand for that reason. So then I'll go back in with something to blend it out. I'll either use something like a 217 from MAC, a little fluffy brush, or fingers. I'll just tap it in with my finger, or you can go back in with the buffing brush. The only reason I don't do this is because I feel like sometimes it moves the concealer around. This is so full coverage that if you went in and blended this all out, you could just have like a mask on. So I just prefer to use something small and blend it out that way, or I'll go in with a beauty blender. Today I'll use the MAC 217 because it's already got concealer on it. So I'm using more of a tapping than anything else. Because this particular concealer is quite full coverage, I feel like you need to be a little bit firm with it. You can't just go in and really lightly blend. You have to sort of bounce it into the skin. I tend to bounce on top of the actual blemish and then blend out round about. I can't even do this one because it hurts so much. Just make sure it's all blended. I'm just going to go in and pop some concealer under my eyes, but you've seen me do that a million times before. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. There's certain, you're never going to be able to cover up texture. If you've got active breakouts that are like lumps, you're never going to be able to cover that up. All you can do is make it quite matte, and that'll like help it look more flat. So here is where you could just set with your powder, whatever you like to use. Like Rimmel Stay Matte would be a good one, or whatever powder it is you like to use. I like to go in with 2 powders, and I know that is excessive, but here the powder I use to set my skin most days is the MAC Mineralised Skin Finish. I like this because my skin's a little bit more dry, it's not a really heavy powder, and it just suits my skin. But I feel like for the breakouts it's not the best powder. So for those areas I like to go in with Studio Fix powder from MAC. This is a foundation. Some people use this to set their makeup. For me that's quite a lot of coverage. So I go back in with a small brush, not like a big huge powder brush, that wouldn't work here. This is an Inglot 4SS brush. I love it. So I go in and I use this on the areas that I've used that concealer. I'm not using a lot of it, I'm just tapping it on top of that area. Not only is it a really matte powder, whereas the Mineralised Skin Finish does have a little bit of a glow. So not only is this matte, it also provides you with more coverage. And if you just go in with a little bit, it's not going to start to cake up. I actually love Studio Fix powder. I think it's quite underrated. So I've not used a lot of that. And then I just go back in with my normal powder, the MAC Mineralised Skin Finish, and I just set anywhere else. I don't use a lot of powder anyway on my skin, but if you need it, just use it wherever you normally use it. And I'm not sort of avoiding the areas where I've put the Studio Fix with this one. I'm putting it everywhere. I just like to put the Studio Fix down first. I feel like it sets the concealer, it lasts all day. So I think that still looks pretty natural. It's not a lot of coverage. I'm really happy because it's covered up everything that I felt I wanted to cover up. I'll try and zoom you in and actually show you what it looks like close up, because I think a lot of the time the lights will bleach it out. I don't know how this is actually going to look when I start to edit it, but I'll zoom you in and show you what it actually looks like. So I hope that was helpful. That's the way I always do it. And if you've got any questions, or anything, please let me know. I can do a video with some great kind of remedies for breakouts if you would like me to. But here is just how to cover them with makeup, because I think we all need to know how to do that. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!